Hey everybody, it's Dr. Joe again on this wet Wednesday evening here in the Washington D.C. area. Hope it's fine wherever you are. And we're gonna have another great session scheduled. We're gonna talk about BRRRR and finding the right property. As you know, in real estate, finding the right property is hard right now. There's a lot of competition. The market's kind of tight, and for every good deal, there's usually several people that want it. And so it's a challenge for a lot of people. So I thought I'll talk about finding the right property for a BRRRR deal, what makes the most sense, and some of the trials and tribulations I've been through, and some of the suggestions I can offer as you continue your goals and your real estate journey. As you all know, my goal is to help you, realize your financial independence goals, especially as it pertains to real estate investing. And so we're holding these Wealth Wednesdays to hopefully, motivate you, encourage you to pursue your dreams and take action. Because at the end of the day, you can't get financial independence by watching YouTube or listen to MP3 live streams or podcasts. At some point, you have to take action, and that's what we're trying to encourage you. So today we're going to talk about finding the right property. And let's get going. I suppose the bottom line is this: what makes finding the right property so critical for your BRRRR success? Why is finding the right property so important? I think it's pretty much obvious why. But anyway, finding the right property is really the cornerstone of the BRRRR strategy. And for BRRRR is, for those people who don't know, it's the buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat strategy. And without the right property, even the most well executed renovation or rental strategy can fall apart. If you buy the wrong property, the wrong location, wrong price point, it can really affect you. It's not so bad really if you take a long-term view, because if you buy in the right area, over time the properties does appreciate in value. And so what you think you may be overpaying today, 5-10 years from now, you're probably thinking, hey, what a genius I was when I bought it so cheap. But the right property means really just more. It means more than just that the value is that the property is undervalued or in the right location. It's a property that aligns with your goals, your budget, and your risk tolerance levels, while offering hopefully potential cash flow and equity growth opportunities. So successful investors know that this decision, what property you buy, can make or break their investment. Real estate investors, obviously like you and I, we face countless challenges, from navigating competitive markets to managing unforeseen costs. So choosing a property without understanding market trends, tenant demands, or scope, the renovations can result in financial strain. It can minimize or reduce your expected returns, or even worse, it can make you lose money. On the other hand, when you find the right property, it serves as a launch pad for portfolio growth, enabling you to repeat the BRRRR process with confidence. So this live stream, we're going to guide you through every aspect of finding the right property for the BRRRR. And we're going to kind of draw lessons from my experiences doing this for over 35 years and other seasoned investors. And we're going to cover everything from evaluating undervalued properties to budgeting for renovations and marketing your rental property. So by mastering these skills, you can overcome some of the trials and tribulations of investing and hopefully build a sustainable, scalable portfolio. So let's get going. We're going to break it down to 6 parts. And number 1 is, how do you identify an undervalued property? How do you identify? What do you look for when you're trying to identify an undervalued property? Because, if you buy undervalued, then, it gives you a bit more buffer than overpaying for a property. So the question is, what strategies can help you spot properties with untapped potential? What strategies can you use to help you spot properties with untapped potential? And so identifying undervalued properties is an art and a science. Okay, it's not just luck. It takes due diligence. It takes marketing. It takes being in the right place at the right time, having the right network, and so forth. So successful investors look for properties that are priced below market value due to some issues. It could be a cosmetic issues in terms of the property. It could be the seller, distress, or it could be some unique circumstance that's taken place. And things like properties with outdated interiors, outdated designs, cluttered exteriors, motivated sellers, those things you can, if you're lucky, and the market is in your favor, you can sometimes buy these things at a discount, leaving room for improvements that increase the value. So you can buy undervalue, hopefully, do some upgrades to the house, which in turn will increase the returns on it for you. Just turn my phone off, and there you go. Okay, so so obviously you're going to rely heavily on data to confirm a property's potential. So you're not going to use by gut feeling. You're going to have to get some data, whether it be comps from the MLS, analysis software, public records. You're going to need to get some data which will shed some insights, of comparable sales and the property history, and hopefully the market conditions in your area. Off-market deals sourced through wholesalers or direct to seller campaigns can also be a gold mine for undervalued opportunities. I don't really do a lot of wholesaling. I don't do any wholesaling. I rather, leave it to others who can develop skill sets and expertise in that area. And I just work with wholesalers and real estate agents to take their properties from them once they've got it under contract or once they've identified an opportunity. But the reality is that patience is crucial. As the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time to get good deals. Rushing into a deal, however, without thorough research can lead you to overpaying for the property, and or even buying a property that requires, the repair cost is higher than what you thought it would be, and it could be problematic. So experienced investors often say that you make your money when you buy, which is sometimes true. I'd rather say that you make your money when you buy holding the assets, but obviously you need to buy it first. But I think the real money is by holding the asset and let time do the heavy lifting. So what it does mean is that the success of the deal, obviously to a certain point, is dependent on the purchase phase and that you buy right. So what are some of the action items associated with identifying undervalued properties? Use the MLS, multiple list service, also analysis software. There's plenty of tools out there. Bit of Pockets has one. There's dealcheck.io. There's a pretty good one there. There's quite a few. If you do a search on real estate analysis software, there's quite a lot of them out there, which will provide you with information that you need to consider as you analyze whether this is a good deal, a bad deal, and so forth. Also, build relationships with wholesalers and real estate agents who can provide you with access to off-market deals and also listed properties. So that's number one, which is how do you identify undervalued properties? Then we go to number two, which is what should you look for in market trends? What should you look for in market trends? And I suppose the question is, how can understanding market trends improve your chances of success? How can your understanding of market trends improve your chances of success? Well, market trends are really a roadmap for identifying the right neighborhoods for your investments. Okay, high growth areas with new developments, increasing property values, and low vacancy rates often provide the most promising opportunities. Again, if it's in an area where there's growth, people are coming in. If there's new activity, if there's new developments taking place, that's a good sign. If property values are increasing, that's a good sign because it means that there's a demand. And also, if there's a low vacancy, which means that there's a mismatch between supply and demand, also provides promising opportunities for a long-term buy and hold. So investors must stay informed about job growth, population trends, and local government initiatives such as infrastructure projects that drive demand. Neighborhood dynamics such as proximity to schools, recreation, transportation, and those things are also important because tenants and they look for those things as they decide whether to rent in your property or somewhere else. So conversely, though, neighborhoods where it's the decline in population, people are leaving, high crime rates, maybe a riskier investments, because it could be a problem when you're trying to rent it. And I've learned the hard way that sometimes buying cheap neighborhoods, cheap properties, yeah, potentially you could get extra cash flow, but in reality, it's harder to find good tenants who want to live there. And if they do move there, they tend to leave. So you have that turnover problem. So, be careful about buying cheap houses in cheap areas. I'm not saying don't do it. I just say, sometimes the returns that you'll get is not what you thought it would be, even though it's cheap. So successful investors, the bottom line is that they understand market trends. Market trends are not static, it's always changing. And that's why continuous research and adaptability on your part is really crucial to stay ahead of the curve. So what are some of the action items associated with what you should look for in market trends? Things like monitor local job growth, infrastructure projects, and new developments that signal rising demand in your area. And also use online platforms to track rental market trends and vacancy rates in your target neighborhoods. That's number 2, which is what should you look for in market trends. We're going to do number 3. We've got 6 today. How do you assess a property's condition? How do you assess a property's condition when you are thinking about doing a BRRRR? What do you look for? And I suppose the question is, what steps can you take to avoid costly renovation surprises? What steps can you take to avoid costly renovation surprises? We've all done rehabs, and you know what happens in rehabs. 3 things happen. It always costs you more than what you thought it would be. Number 2 is it always takes you longer than you thought it would be. And probably number 3 is that you're going to have some fallout with your contractor. We've had contractors from hell. We've had rehabs from hell. And so how can we avoid costly renovation surprises? Well, a property's condition can significantly impact your BRRRR strategy. While cosmetic issues, things like paint, carpet, outdated painting, outdated flooring are manageable, structural problems and foundation cracks and things like that can be problematic and could impact your budget. So a thorough inspection is really vital. It's very important, especially if you don't know, if you're new to to real estate, because by working with home inspectors and people like that, they can uncover hidden issues that you may overlook just because you don't know. And it's good to know before you commit to the contract. So successful investors work with professionals, professional inspectors and contractors to assess the repair cost accurately. Okay, not just let me cross my fingers, hope for the best. No, you want to get some advice as to how much it's going to cost to fix up the house. So they focus on properties with good quote unquote bones, things like solid structures that require mostly surface level improvements, cosmetic improvements, properties with severe issues like extensive water damage, mold, or outdated electrical systems, plumbing systems, heating systems that may require more resources that's something that you have to be careful about to make sure that you budget accordingly. So by understanding the scope of work or scope of repairs up front, you can budget effectively and prioritize renovations, that add the most value, such as you can focus on things that like kitchens, bathrooms, and upgrades and things like that. So this ensures that you avoid financial strain and budget crunches or run out of money, and therefore hopefully maximize your return on your investment. So that's number 3, which is what steps can you take to avoid costly renovations? I suppose the action items that you may want to consider in terms of how do you assess a property's condition. Things like hire a licensed contractor to evaluate the property's structural integrity and major systems. Also, get detailed reports, repair estimates from contractors to create a realistic renovation budget. Seek advice from others who are a bit more seasoned, more experienced than you are. So we're kind of halfway through, and so we've done 1, 2, 3. And again, we're going to be about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you got some questions, we're going to go to Ask Dr. Joe. So if you got some questions for me, put them in the chat box, and I'll get to them in about 10, 12 minutes from now. And anything to do with real estate investing, anything to do with any deals that you're working on or problems that you've encountered, tenant issues, landlord issues, anything to do with real estate, feel free to put them in the chat box, and I'll get to them in about 10 minutes or so. And likewise, if you want to do a deep dive into a situation that you're experiencing or facing, where we can sort of do a one-on-one, then you can go to my website, joeasamoah.com, www.joeasamoah.com, and you can book a one-on-one with me for 1 hour. And, and then we can sort of do a deep dive. I had a great session yesterday with Akia. We're talking about a deal that she's going to be doing, hopefully, in the Baltimore area. And so we did a deep dive, talked about different strategies. We also talked about, is it a go, no go, and some of the issues of navigating that entire process. So if you've got some questions, issues, challenges that you're experiencing, feel free to book a one-on-one with me, and we can do a deep dive. Okay, carrying on. Number 4, which is how do you evaluate neighborhood demand? Obviously, it's all about supply and demand. You don't want to buy a house where there's no demand for what you're trying to do. So how do you evaluate neighborhood demand? I suppose the question is, why is understanding tenant demand crucial to a successful BRRRR strategy? Why is understanding tenant demand crucial to a successful BRRRR strategy? Okay, so neighborhood demand is a critical factor in ensuring that your property generates consistent rental income. At the end of the day, you want to get income, and the income comes from rent. So you want to make sure that there's a demand for your property in terms of renting after you've done all this work. So properties in areas with high tenant demand are less likely to experience vacancies because there's more people that want them, and ensuring that you have a steady cash flow. So to evaluate demand, investors should consider things like proximity to desirable amenities, which I mentioned earlier on, like schools, shopping, recreation, transportation, job centers, employment. These are things that people look for when they decide to rent in location A versus location B, or your house versus somebody else's house as well. So understanding your target tenant profile is also important. Are you looking for families? Are you looking for individuals? Are you looking for students? Are you looking for professionals? Are you looking for voucher holders? All these things are important because I believe that if you know who your target audience is, then you can make sure you can market and have a product that meets their needs. So selecting properties that meet the needs of these target groups becomes very, very important. So, for example, a family-friendly neighborhood near good schools may attract long-term tenants, while properties near universities and colleges may appeal to students seeking short-term yearly leases. So ignoring demand can lead to prolonged vacancies and reduced profitability. I do believe that there's power in identifying who your target is, and and really going after them, as opposed to trying to be generic and trying to please everybody. So by focus on tenant needs and market demand, you kind of increase your chances of securing reliable renters quickly. And so what are some of the action items associated with that? How do you evaluate neighborhood demand? Things that you can do is use online rental applications or online rental platforms to research tenant demand and average rental rates in your target area. So there are websites and platforms that you can go to get basic information about tenants and demand. Also, you can drive the neighborhood to assess things like livability, curb appeal, proximity to those amenities which I just talked about earlier on. And the third thing you may want to consider is to match the property features, things like size and amenities to the needs of your target tenant profile. How does your property stack up against what your desired tenants are looking for? That's number 4. Let's keep going. Number 5. We're doing good. How do you budget for renovations? How do you budget? Where's the money going to come from? How should you budget for these things so that you don't run out of money? So the question is, what are the best ways to control renovation costs while maximizing value? What are the best ways to control renovation costs while maximizing value? Budgeting for renovations requires really a clear understanding of costs and priorities. Successful investors focus on high ROI, return on investment improvement items, such as modernizing kitchen and bathrooms, enhancing curb appeal, and even things like upgrading energy efficiency. They also avoid over improving the rent on the renovations, ensuring that renovations align with neighborhood standards. So if you don't want to be too way ahead of everybody else, because you're going to spend a lot of money, you may not get that back in terms of increased rents. So you don't want to over improve. What it does is that it makes you run out of money. So accurate budgeting obviously becomes therefore important. And so you want to get multiple quotes from prospective contractors in your area, and kind of run that by other people. Go to a RIA, Real Estate Investment Association meeting, speak to other investors, find out who they're using, and maybe get second opinions from other contractors. A contingency fund also becomes important, because most renovation projects usually go above budget, and you don't want to run out of money. So it's good to have a contingency, maybe 10 to 20% in the event you have overruns or you find unexpected expenses that you incur. So a contingency fund typically is between 10 to 20% of the renovation budget, and it helps kind of cover surprises like hidden water damage, permitting delays, roof issues, and things like that. Effective project management obviously is also crucial. How do you manage a project to keep it going? And regular communications with contractors, clear timelines and milestones, milestone tracking ensures renovations stay on schedule, on budget, without too many surprises. Although you will get surprises, hopefully you can limit those surprises. What are the action items associated with how do you budget for renovations? Focus renovation efforts on high ROI improvements that add tangible value to the property. Again, kitchen and bathrooms usually has a good ROI. Obtain at least 2 or 3 contractor quotes, and include a contingency fund in your budget. And also you may want to monitor project process or progress closely to prevent delays and cost overruns. And finally, number 6, again, if you got some questions, put them in the chat box, and I'll get to them about 5 or 10 minutes from now. So number 6 is, how do you increase viewership for your rentals? How do you get traffic to your rental properties? I suppose the question is, what strategies attract tenants quickly in a competitive market? What can you do to improve traffic going to your property? Marketing obviously is vital. It's an essential step in finding a reliable tenant. High quality photos and well written descriptions make your property hopefully stand out from your competition. I think your listing should offer or highlight a unique selling point. What makes it different from your competition? Things like modern upgrades or convenient locations. That's all things you want to include. Platforms like Zillow, apartment.com, Facebook Marketplace are ideal for reaching potential tenants. And you can also include in your ad incentives for why people should come over, why people should, make an application. It may offer things like discounts, move-in discounts, free utilities, free vacations, free toasters, whatever you want to do. You want to encourage people to come. You also want to encourage people to fill an application. Virtual tours and online applications, can add convenience, broaden your potential audience. So with the right marketing strategy, you can attract reliable tenants quickly, ensuring cash flow is maintained, and hopefully reduce the chances or the risks of extended vacancies. Vacancies are a killer. You got no money coming in. You got to paint the place again. You got to clean it again. You got to show it again. It's just a lot of work, and it wipes you out if you don't control it. So what are the action items associated with increasing viewership for your rentals? Invest in professional photographs and staging for your rentals. Offer virtual tours and incentives to attract high quality tenants, and use multiple platforms to maximize your property's exposure, and so on. So finally, in conclusion, why setting realistic goals and expectations is key to your long-term success. Mastering the art of finding the right property for the BRRRR is the foundation for building a successful real estate portfolio. It is from identifying undervalued properties and analyzing market trends to budgeting for renovations and marketing effectively. Every step plays a critical role in maximizing your potential returns and minimizing risk. So, by learning from experienced investors like myself, other people as well, understanding the challenges and taking actionable steps, hopefully can increase your confidence and help you navigate the BRRRR process. Because if you do the BRRRR process right, there are rewards. You do get a portfolio, you do get cash flow, you do get equity buildup. There are tax benefits, all associated with holding on to real estate. So you can, the rewards are things like sustainable, income stream, scalable real estate portfolio, and all those things are within your reach if you start with the right property. Okay, my friends, wrapping it up. So enter your questions in the chat box if you've got some questions for me. Anything to do with real estate investing, any issues that you're facing, challenges that you're experiencing, anything to do with real estate, feel free to put them in the chat box and I'll do the best I can to answer them. And if you've got some, you can always shoot me an email at joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. You can also book a one-on-one meeting with me where we can do a deep dive into a situation, challenge, problems that you're experiencing, where you can leverage my 35 years of experience. Pretty good chance that I've dealt with a situation like what you're going through, and therefore there is no reason why you should recreate the wheel. You want to learn from other people's mistakes. So book a one-on-one with me. If you feel that I can be of assistance and provide value, which I know I can. And finally, we do have the tenant screening playbook course. And it's a really, really good course. We're getting some good feedback from you. So you can check it out. This the screeningplaybook.com, screeningplaybook.com. As the saying goes, wise landlords don't solve problems, they avoid problems. And why learn from your mistakes if you don't have to? So purchase the tenant screening playbook today. And you can go to my website, www.screeningplaybook.com. We've got about 50 lessons. It's really designed to make you become a pro at screening, because if you do screening well, you get the right people in your properties. It's really a joy. It's a blessing to rent to, especially as voucher holders. But if you got the wrong tenant in your house, believe me, it is a disaster. It's a nightmare. It's frustrating. So that's all based on screening, and that's what screening is all about. That's what this course is all about. The Screening Mastery Playbook. It gives you step by step as to what to consider, what to look for, how to do it the right way, and hopefully you'll get what we call tier one tenants that tenants that pay the rent, take care of your property, pleasant to deal with, and hopefully stay a long time. Okay, let's get down to the questions, and we'll start right now. Okay, Dow2. Hey, Dow2. Hope you're doing well. And greeting from Phoenix, Arizona. Hope you're doing fine where you are. I'm sure it's a lot warmer where you are than where I am. Intellectual Conversations with BJ. Hey, Dr. Joe Darling from DC. Hope you're doing well. Intellectual Conversations. Interesting name. What software displays vacancy rates in a neighborhood? That's a good question. What software display? I think there are services out there that you can purchase to find out trends in an area. There are paid ones. I don't subscribe to any of them, but I know there are some out there, especially if you're into apartments. You can speak to a real estate agent. They may be able to give you some information. You may be able to tap into their resources to find out what the neighborhood vacancies are. I tend to have houses. My experiences, I tend to have 4, 5, 6 bedroom houses. I find that at least where I am in Washington D.C., there's an imbalance. The demand is much higher than the supply. The demand for 4, 5, 6 bedroom houses is much greater than the supply or the availability of 4, 5, 6 bedroom houses. So I don't usually have a problem finding tenants. But I'm sure where you are, it's easy to get a body. If that's what you're interested in, just getting someone in your house, that's relatively straightforward. What you want is a good person. What you want is a tier one tenant, a tenant that's going to pay you, take care of your property, no drama, and hopefully will stay a long time. That, my friends, is the key. And, so I would, I don't know. I don't have to answer your question, intellectual conversation, but they're out there, and I will definitely speak to people like real estate agents, brokers, probably appraisers, and they can get you more information as to the specifics in your neighborhood in terms of vacancy rates. Wealth and Wellness with Grace. Hi, Grace from Louisiana. Hope you're doing well where you are. Again, if you got some questions, put them in the chat box, and I will get to them. Let's have a look. Dow2 is close to the beginning of the year. I have luckily had my first voucher holder for 1 year and 8 months. Congratulations, 1 year and 8 months. This tenant's rent is at least $467 below. That's what's allowed by a voucher for this house. Okay. So question is, can I just ask the voucher program for a $467 increase? I know the voucher holder is paying 30%. I don't want to add a financial burden to the tenant. What do you suggest? Yes, you should request a rent increase. Now, depending on how they do it where you are, Dow2 in Phoenix, typically, you want to get some comps of what the rents are in your area. And you may want to contact a real estate. You may want to contact a real estate agent. And they will give you some idea. They can pull the market, what the market rents are, or you can go on Zillow, another, Facebook Marketplace, and other platforms, apartment.com, to find out what rents are going for in the immediate vicinity where your property is. So if your rent is way below, like in your case, $467 below market, then by certainly you should request a rent increase. It doesn't necessarily mean that the tenant's portion will increase. I've requested rent increases where the housing authority's portion goes up, whereas the tenant's portion stays the same. The tenant's portion is based on their income. Okay, 30% of their income. So if their income hasn't changed, then their rents probably should not change as well. So if you're so far behind in terms of the rent, I would definitely suggest that you may want to request a rent increase. Sometimes you can speak to the housing authority beforehand to make sure that, if you do request a rent increase, it will be approved. Somehow, again, it just depends on the housing authority, how they determine whether you will get a rent increase or not. So it's worthwhile to develop relationships with some of the folks down at the housing authority, and therefore you may be able to ask them, or you can call them or attend a landlord orientation or landlord briefing that a lot of these housing authorities have to trying to encourage other landlords to participate in the program. So you may want to attend one of those, and then you can pose that question to the coordinator of the event. Aloha from Hawaii. Hey, financial firefighter, hope you're doing well. Again, if you got some questions, please put them in the chat box. It's 7:40, and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. Eman H, when you work with contractors on a flip or BRRRR, do you structure a contract to prevent them from creating a lien on a house if you have a fallout? Well, I've used the same contractor for the last 10, 12 years. So they understand who I am. I understand exactly what they're looking for. So we've kind of worked through those issues. They're really good. I do believe that, sometimes it's worth, you get what you pay for. So the cheapest guy, the cheapest contract is not always the best guy. But anyway, how do I structure the contract? Typically payment is based on milestones. So as they complete milestones, then, draws or payments are due. And if they don't meet those milestones, obviously you can withhold payment as well. So that's how I do it anyway. In terms of creating a lien, typically, especially if you have hard money, the contractor has to sign what they call a lien waiver, which is a document that says they've been paid, and as far as they're concerned, everything's above board. You don't owe them any money, and they are signing a lien release, so that way you won't have them tie up your property and record something in the land records, which will prevent you from selling your house. So, but the key to it is just, work on the relationship, manage your relationship. At the end of the day, you're working with two human beings, and it's always good to try and nurture those relationships if you can. Okay, Dow 2. Have you ever had a tenant who has put a hole in doors? Yes. The repair people want to replace the entire door frame with the door already in the frame. I just want them to replace the doors. So it sounds like you have, I think you continue then. Do you have them replace the entire door frame, or just have them replace the door that's in the current frame? My last tenant put a hole in like 6 or 7 doors in the house. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see if I can, unpack this one. Have you had a tenant who's put a hole in the doors? Yes, tenants do cause damage. Hopefully, if you get tier 1 tenants, they won't cause too much damage. And so it sounds like your repair guy, your maintenance guy, wants to replace the entire door frame with the door in the frame. So they buy the whole set, and you just want them to replace the door, which is a little cheaper, as opposed to buying the whole frame with the jamb as well. Do you have them replace the entire door frame, or just have them replace the door? I mean, I would see if you can repair the door without replacing it first. Maybe the holes are minor, you could fill it in and call it a day. If the holes are major, then obviously you want to replace. Now, it's half of the 6 of one, half of the other. I know it's slightly cheaper to just buy the door, but then you're going to do some adjusting and things like that. Whereas if you buy the door with the jamb and everything's all in one, all you got to do is just connect it to your property, and then you call it a day. So it's less sort of it's cheaper to put it in, but it costs more to buy. So so your question is going to be, which way do you go? It just depends on your budget, and also I'll speak to the contractor to see how much he'll charge for for replacing the entire frame rather than just replacing the door. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap it up now. So if you got some final questions, feel free to put them in. Otherwise, I am done for today, and I wish you a wonderful December the 11th. Hopefully it's well. Hope you've had a good year, and I'm excited by what's going on in 2025. I expect to do more travel. I'm going to Trinidad and Tobago in February. I'll probably go to Ghana maybe in January and maybe another time in the summer. And I probably go to South Africa, I think, in the fall of next year. So, we'll see. My goal is to go to at least 3 countries in 2025. And I'm pretty sure I will do that. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy seeing other cultures and meeting other people and enjoying their food, their lifestyle, and things like that. So, safe travels, Dr. Joe. I sure will, and so on. So that's it for today. Hopefully it was a good session for you, and feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions or book a one-on-one with me. Go to my website, www.joeasamoah. We could do a deep dive one-on-one. Otherwise, I'll see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Take care, guys. Bye for now.